Today we're going to talk about glided kit trucks. Everything that you need to know about glided kit trucks and swapping engines. Is it illegal to swap an engine? I'll let you know now. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about glided kit trucks. So what is a glided kit truck? Well, basically it's a brand new truck off the factory without drivetrain, without any engine, any transmission, and most of the cases they don't even have rear axles. It's all like that to a third company so they can finish it up, putting an engine, putting a transmission, putting rear axle before it hits the market for sale. Glided kit trucks, they're not new, guys. They've been around probably since the 80s. They have become more popular lately because glided kit trucks come with older drivetrains. And as you know, new trucks, they have a lot of problems with the engines, with all the emission systems, the EGR, the DEF, sensors, and so on and so on. So that's the reason why glided kit trucks, they have become more popular, because it's literally a new truck with an old, reliable drivetrain. That's what it is, guys. As I said, they're not new, they've been around forever. They just became more popular lately. And having a glided kit truck is just having a new truck, same as the new truck, but without all those hassles, because they come with an older drivetrain, a good, reliable drivetrain, easy to work on, fuel efficient, not as many sensors as the new trucks. So it's pretty much basically what every owner operator wants. And also, just because they were slightly cheaper than buying a brand new original truck. For example, if you buy a Freightliner Cascadia from Freightliner, let's say, and it was worth 150,000, for example, maybe a glided kit truck, it was 125, 120, so it was slightly cheaper, and you were getting pretty much the same truck with a better, most reliable drivetrain than the one in the brand new truck. And also, some of them might be E-log exempt, so that's a plus. So it's basically what every owner operator wants: having a new truck, having a reliable drivetrain, and be able to use paper logs still. They're, to me, just the best option for every owner operator out there, you know. Like in my case, I'm in an old truck. It's pretty much I have the same drivetrain that will come in any glided kit truck, but I'm stuck in an old truck, you know. And if you want to improve, to get a newer truck, I think that's the best option. Glided trucks are available in Freightliner, Freightliner Cascadia, Freightliner Columbia, Freightliner Coronado. They also have them available in Kenworth, Kenworth T660, Kenworth W900, Peterbilt 389, Peterbilt 386, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, some of the Peterbilt 579. They also have some Western Stars, which I don't know the models, but there's also some Western Stars available. You won't find any International, you won't find any Mack trucks or any Volvo trucks, as far as I know. Most of them, the most popular engine they come with is a Detroit 12.7, but they also have it in Cummins M14, Caterpillar 3406, and Cummins ISX. There might be more options, but that's the ones I'm aware of that they're available. So what's the good thing about those trucks? Well, as I already told you, it's just the best option for the owner operator. Newer truck, older drivetrain, and plus, if the engine was built before 1999, you might be able to still use paper logs, and you have all that extra freedom. You know, you don't have to use the e-logs. So that's why they are so popular lately. What's the bad thing about those trucks? Well, the only bad thing about those trucks that I can think of is just that some of the components might be slightly hard to get or hard to find, I would say. Because, for example, if you call Freightliner and they run your VIN, the engine that is in your truck, they won't have any information about your truck. The only information they will have is just that it's a glider kit truck, but they don't have any engine components, etc., etc. You know, if you have just an original, any truck that is just, you know, original from factory, you give them the VIN, and they will be able to tell you which parts, like which starter you're using, what fuel pump, or etc., etc. And in glider kit trucks, then you might find some issues right there. I recommend you, if you have one, just take the part off and take it to the dealer, and they can just, you know, compare and sell you the part, just taking yours and compare it to what they have available there. That's the only bad thing about glider kit trucks, I find. So as I told you, lately they were becoming so popular that the Fitzgerald, which is one of the biggest companies that put them together, he sold 3,000 trucks on 2017, which it was a thread, sorry about my English, for the companies that didn't jump on the boat on the glider kit business, which is International, Mack, and Volvo. Volvo pushed the government along with the EPA to stop the companies building glider kit trucks because they were getting hurt by the sales that glider kit trucks were selling, and they weren't selling as many. So they pushed the government to stop them from building more glider kit trucks. As of now, if I'm not mistaken, they're not selling any because the government came back to the glider kit companies and they only allow them to build around 15 trucks a year per factory. And then the companies that built the gliders, you know, like Freightliner that was selling gliders, Kenworth and Peterbilt, they thought there was no more business into glider kit trucks, so they also stopped selling them to the third-party factories like Fitzgerald. So if you want to buy a glider kit truck, this is the things that you have to be aware of. First of all, as I told you, the biggest company was Fitzgerald, but in order to have that success, they were putting the engines together with aftermarket parts. So therefore, their engines, they're not as reliable as other companies' trucks. So that's something that you have to be aware. They don't last as long, probably maybe 500k miles, and you already have to do an overhaul on your truck. I still find it worth it because, as you know, doing an overhaul on a 12.7 Detroit is just 7 to 9 grand, and you know a good place to do it. Versus newer trucks, it's just over 20 grand or so. I still find it still a good deal. But that's something that you have to be aware of. And another thing, make sure if you want to be e-log exempt, make sure that you research properly and make sure your engine is e-log exempt. In some cases, such as on the Detroit 12.7, they do have a sticker on the valve cover. That sticker doesn't say much, because I've seen cases on glider kit trucks that for some reason that sticker says some date and the engine is actually another build date. So I recommend you to look for the pin stamped on the engine and then call Detroit or whatever made that engine with that VIN number, and they will tell you when the engine was built. That's so you make sure that your engine is e-log exempt if that's what you want. That's one thing. As I told you, Fitzgerald, well, just make sure that it's been overhauled, if it already has some miles. If not, well, have in mind that you might have to overhaul it. But that's something that you have to be aware of. Another question I get, since glider kit trucks are literally a newer truck with an old engine, is, can I make my own glider? Can I make my own glider? Can I buy a truck from the auto auction and swap the engine and then have my own glider? I would say, yes, you can, because literally you can, but you actually can't. It's illegal. I'll let you know why now. People is doing it in a huge scale, because when they did the final rule on the e-logs, it says that there might be some exemptions of newer trucks with an older engine, such as gliders or something like that. But it doesn't say it very specifically. It just says such as glider or something like that. So that gets misunderstood, and people think that, I mean, you can actually swap the engine and you'll be good to go. But the thing is that it's actually illegal. Why is it illegal? I'll explain to you now. In 1997, EPA made a rule that it was gonna be controlling all the emission systems on heavy duty engines, and it was written somehow that we have to meet some steps, I would call it like that, or phases as they call it, until we get to zero emission trucks. That's the reason why they're pushing out all the electric trucks, you know. But the phase one was when they came out with electronic control engines with ECM, which it was the best engines out there, you know, such as the 12.7 Detroit, Caterpillar 3406E, and Cummins M14. They put electronic devices so they kind of control the emissions, and they were more fuel efficient than the mechanic ones back then. That was the phase one. Phase two was when all the engines had to have EGR, and then phase three, now it's the when engines have to have DEF, until we get to zero emissions trucks. So that agency made a rule that it says, well, that you can actually swap the engine. It says, the law says that you can actually swap the engine, but as long as you put the same engine or newer. That's what it says. You cannot put an older engine, because it says that you are putting an engine that it was supposed to be in an oil truck with another where the emissions were less strict. So that's what's going on. So now you'll be telling me, even though we know all that, why is people still doing it? This is my own thought about it. I might be wrong, But I think what's going on is the last administration took out the funds for the EPA. So EPA had no funds to work with. So they had no power. They literally had no power at all. I even believe that even they shut down their website. So for them not having the power, people thought, well, we can do whatever we want, I guess. I mean, assuming that the old administration was gonna be for another 4 years or so. So that's just my personal thought. That might be the reason why people were doing it, because they were expecting that the EPA won't have any funds during 8 years. But now with this new administration, guys, that might change, and we might get in trouble. We might get in trouble once EPA starts working. I don't blame you if you did it. I'm thinking if I was in the same boat, I'd had considered doing it as well, because as you know, newer trucks, they're not as reliable. They have a lot of headaches. Everything is more expensive, such as maintenance. If you have to do an overhaul, on top of that you have the EGR, the DPF filter, that is, I don't know how much is now, but back then they used to say that it was like 10 grand or so. I'm not aware. I've never had one of those trucks. I don't know what the cost is, but I know that they cost a lot of money, that they have a lot, way more maintenance that you have to do on those newer trucks. So if you did it, I don't blame you. As I told you, I had done it probably. I'm not sure. But the thing is that if you knew the law and you were doing it, at least you were aware what you were going into, what you were getting into. But in some cases, people doesn't have the knowledge, and they get scammed because they get to buy one of those trucks. They're not aware they're illegal, and they just buy them because they think it's a good buy. But at the end, they might be just stranded with an illegal truck, and they don't know. I know many companies, they're putting them together and they just sell them. They just sell them to anybody. If you're aware of the law, if you know that it's illegal and you still buy it, well, at least you're aware. But there is many people that doesn't know. And so my purpose of making this video was to inform you what's going on, what might happen, so you get to know a little bit more about Legality trucks. If you have any questions, if you think I missed something, let me know in the comments. As far as I know, they're not making gliders anymore, so you gonna find them new, but you can still buy one used for sale. As I told you, just make sure you want e-log exempt truck. Just make sure you check the pin of the block, and I hope this helps. If you are buying just one truck that is being swapped with an older engine, make sure be aware, I would say, that it's a legal truck. If you buy it now knowing, well, at least you know what you're getting into. Hopefully EPA doesn't get to work. Otherwise, many people will be in trouble. But I just make these videos to inform you, to help you, and it will help me a lot if you subscribe, if you like this video, and if you share it with your friends, somebody that might find this interesting. I made this video in Spanish and it was a success, so I decided to do it in English for you guys. Thank you for all my English speakers who had the patience to wait for this English version of this video. I really appreciate you guys with all your support. And thank you See you in the next one. God bless you all. Peace.